Making the digital revolution work for Europeans through innovation. How can the EU encourage Europeans to create and invent in order to better compete in the evolving global economy? Hello and welcome to People First, the EPP Group's monthly program on issues with impact on people like you. Joining us to answer some of your questions is Michał Boni.
Hello.
You are a member of the Industry Research and Energy Committee in the European Parliament, also a member of the EPP Group, and you used to be a Minister for Social and Labor Policy in Poland. And you carried other hats too, right?
I have been also the Minister of Digitization after some years, so I think that I understand how important innovation is.
Exactly, and I know you are going to Valencia, with other people, for this EPP event on innovation, this conference on innovation. What do you hope to accomplish there?
I think that we need to understand how important innovation is. Innovation is the driver for future development. And if it is the driver for future development, so we need to establish better conditions for innovation. It means stronger relations and connections between science and research area and industry. It means proper financial sources for innovation, which means research, but also how to support SMEs and enterprises to be innovative.
And there's also the regulatory side.
The regulatory side and also education, because I think that we need to create something like innovative attitude among people, not only among young people, among all of us.
Okay, well, let's look at what this means for the future in our report.
Europe is struggling with a global innovation gap. The latest European Commission study shows it has been closing that gap with the United States and Canada, but it's widening with Japan and South Korea. The EU maintains a considerable innovative edge over Russia, India, and Brazil, but is losing ground to China. Within the European Union, Nordic countries hold the lead. The study's indicators include people skills, intellectual assets, an innovation-friendly environment, and access to finance. So how to close the gap? The EPP Group calls for innovation that improves how people live and work in energy, transportation, healthcare, urban planning, agriculture, environmental protection, as well as information technology. But also in culture. Why not a European-style Netflix and a European digital library? You can do that by deepening Europe's digital single market. How about a European open data platform, a European startup network called Erasmus 4.0, a 5G mobile network supporting the Internet of Things, better access to finance, and building skills through education, including a European university for innovation. Just a few ideas as the EU debates the path ahead through the global digital revolution.
All right, so it can sound a little bit frightening to some people, all this change, but it should be seen as an opportunity, right?
It is the opportunity, and I think it is very important to understand that if we will invest in innovation, in enterprises, in industries, in research area, in universities.
It's money well spent.
We will have the return of this investment, and the return of this investment will be addressed to every European, because we will change the model of life, we will change all kinds of services and industries.
Okay, all sounds great, but there are concerns. Here's one.
Comment comptez-vous valoriser la création dans le numérique et l'évolution en Europe?
All right, so people create a lot of things online. How do you make sure they're getting paid for that? How do you make sure that their ideas are not being stolen?
We need to consider how to balance in the digital era the intellectual property and the satisfaction for people who are creative. We need a new model of licenses, new model of intellectual properties, and also openness.
And that's done on a European level. The auto sector has been a driver of innovation in the past, but what about now? Here's a question on that.
Comment faire évoluer l'automobile en Europe?
Okay, and it's true that the auto industry has been criticized lately or some of the industry anyway, for a lack of innovation. How much can the EU play a role in changing that?
When we are talking about automotive sector and we are talking about self-driving cars, we need 5G infrastructure, because this is the only possibility to give some signals and transfer the data and information in milliseconds. What is important in addition, it is to harmonize some legal solutions related to driving in all European countries. And on the other hand, we need to discuss who will be the owner of those huge portion of data.
Yes.
On the one hand, it is important who owns the data, but on the other, how we can share the data, because data sharing is one of the key issues when we want to be innovative.
Okay, and here's another very different issue, is I've spoken to young innovators in the past who went to America because it was easier to develop their ideas from a financial basis and so forth. Here's a youth asking about this.
Comment l'Europe peut-elle aider les jeunes innovateurs à développer leurs idées?
So, how do we stop that sort of brain and talent drain?
We need to show to young generation that when we will be innovative in this broad sense, we will build our competitive advantages as Europe.
And what about innovation in healthcare? Here's a question.
Was kann das Europäische Parlament tun, den Medizinern zu helfen, eine Lösung gegen Krebs zu finden?
Okay, that's just one of a number of diseases that we need to find a cure. That means billions in research. How can the EU help there? It has up to now. How can we go further?
It's one of the key issues. When we have the possibility using computers, supercomputers, to analyze some scenarios with information about the disease, about the genome of individuals, we can prepare some scenarios how the disease will develop and what kind of responses from us as doctors could be to support and to improve the health of people. We need to have money for research, and we need to show that there are some projects, as for example European reference networks, which give the possibility to join the efforts done in many countries for some special teams and focus on rare diseases.
One last obstacle, bureaucracy. That can frustrate innovation sometimes. Here's a question on that.
Comment pourrait-on alléger toute la structure législative en Europe ou dans les pays européens pour trouver un milieu, un monde où on puisse favoriser l'initiative par plus de liberté individuelle?
Okay, now when I talked to him, he said he did agree, though, that there has to be some kind of a balance between protecting people and encouraging innovation. Where do you find that balance?
We need to build trust. So if somebody is a fantastic creator, don't block him. Don't limit his expectations and his efforts. And I think that we need to have legislation which will be simplified, which will be harmonized, because it's important not to have national solutions, but to have a European level of those solutions. The innovation very often and technologies are faster than our work on legislation. So we need to prepare some solutions which will be flexible. When I have said trust, it means also in some areas we will need a code of conduct. It's clear for me that when scientists from the university and young people from startups and people who are responsible for local development, local authorities, will sign the agreement how to go forward, how to go ahead. So there is only some requirements which need to be legal, but everything should be based on our initiative, on our energy, and on our power related to the innovation.
A lot of factors to take into consideration. Also at the Valencia conference coming up. Michał, Boni.
Thank you very much. I hope that we will prepare a very good project addressed to the people, to the individuals, to our citizens, because innovation at the end is for us, for everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Boni.
Thank you.
That's it for now on People First. Find out more about the activities of the largest political force in Parliament by checking eppgroup.eu. Until next time, thanks for watching.